Irene with SaugaTalks. I am talking weekly with fascinating people in tech, and I touch the interesting trends of 2020 and looking into 2021. So if you're here today, subscribe, follow on LinkedIn, follow on Twitter, because I post daily snippets of fantastic conversation with fabulous people. And today is not an exception. Today, I am so happy to have here with me Xavier Gomez. Hello, Xavier, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, Irene, to invite me in your channel.
Absolutely, pleasure is all mine, because I'm a little humbled to have this star of your caliber here with me, because I've decided we're going to talk about fintech, and your pedigree is just perfect. Because Xavier, let me talk a little bit why I invited you to speak with me, because I know you're a founder and you're a CEO of INVYO, the company working in SaaS space around AI capabilities and data for financial services. And you are the best candidate to talk about FinTech trends that we saw in 2020. And again, overseeing what's going to be happening to all of us in 2021. The industry, finances, humankind. Welcome, Xavier. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And thank you again to invite me. Yes, I have a chance to have the right skills for that, because I worked during many years in a finance sector as a banker of Credit Suisse and Pictet in different top management positions between London, Paris, Zurich, and Geneva. I worked for investment banking and wealth management and during many years. And with a former colleague, I decided to move on and to move on the right side on the new tech, and to be a specialist of finance of future. This is the reason why we decided to create INVYO. INVYO is a pan-European platform that combines semantic analysis and machine learning to enable all company size to create value leveraging their internal and external data. In fact, we democratize the using of the big data for financial services today and for the other sector of economy tomorrow.
Fantastic. We will have a lot to talk about today. So let's get going here. I read a lot about trends. For 2020, it was quite an interesting year. I think as we're nearing the holidays and times to draw some conclusions in our lives, in the way it changed, in the way industry changed. So can you kind of walk us through what you saw for 2020 happening in fintech space?
Yes, thank you for this challenging question, but it's very important, because in coming years we will see a lot of new player in your day-to-day business, or in day-to-day customer using financial services to come in your world. As the fintech world is undergoing a radical reformation. Clearly, we see key trends that is likely to shape the upcoming future of fintech industry. We can see a lot of countries such as India or China clearly move forward more quickly than USA, for example, on that. And it's a big challenge for Europe to tackle. Europe have a lot of advantage, but they have to fight drastically in order to take the race. The fintech industry as a whole is reckoning with itself at every level. Every move they make is accounted for and closely monitored by regulators and customers. Fintech companies are at the forefront, especially due to the current scenario with digital transaction taking place higher than ever. And this is the most interesting because the role of fintech today is to save time, reduce fees, and ensure financial education, clearly. And you can see in a recent report a development of each side of fintech. And for example, one of the most powerful subsector of the fintech is clearly the payments and, for example, invisible payments. Invisible payments take a physical payment method such as cash, debit, and credit cards completely out of the equation, creating a convenient and speedy experience. The demand for cashless transaction is in pandemic. Its economy is expected to create more opportunities for digital wallet operators. And we see a lot of big player as today in Europe. For example, you have the TransferWise, you have Go Cardless, we have a former fintech such as a PayPal. It's a very interesting fighting at the moment. The transactions that are digitally linked will not just help to boost the transaction, but will also help the industry in collecting data. This data can then be used to offer new services. So creating new revenue streams, providing unbundled offers, and building cost-effective setups for business to grow. This is very important. Just with a payment arm holds this change coming, clearly.
Yep, and I understand that customers and changed behavior just changed banks to become digital only in many ways. What do you think? Where are we going with this? I mean, will it stay with us in 2021?
It's clearly a big move and an acceleration in each continent about that. This is the reason why I feel also the emerging of education, because people forget consumer education about finance. I know in a Anglo-Saxon country, this is an habit, but clearly for some European country in Europe, it's a little bit new, such as France. They don't have the habits to make money, to be entrepreneur, and it's clearly a new trend. And in order to adopt this new habits, new solution, you need to educate people. As more and more customers get on the digital board, fintechs will have to focus on building trust and consumer engagement, especially given the time when cybersecurity is extremely vulnerable. To be critical and to stay ahead of the competition than offer fintech's brand, it is necessary to focus on the security along with making the procedure simple for consumer. Communication and education are one of the major key ways to drive engagement with customer. While the digital payment process might not be new for some segment of consumer, it is entirely a new process for another segment of people. So it becomes the brand's responsibility to build transparency in communication and make the consumer aware of all activities in a simple way so they can understand fraudulent and activity beforehand. Because usually people are afraid of the new things, of a new technology. And during the lockdown, you realize they don't have a choice. They have to use the technology to move on. For the shoppers, for the consumer, because you have to stay at home, you have to close your shop, but you have to try to make a business and consume. This is the reason why we see a big development of using of fintech solution, clearly.
Absolutely, and that's where tech starts playing more a role that's more prevalent, because I hear a lot about digital transformation that accelerated, right? We kind of touched on it a little bit. Those banks that have to become open banks, that have to open up more digital services and practices and actually invent new digital products. Do you see this kind of business product innovation going as a result of that?
Good question, Irene. To have a good product, you have to have a nice platform to put this product. And you see the movement of platformization. You can, with a good platform, you can create a lot of product and very useful product for a final customer. It could be a B2C, a final consumer, and B2B and enterprise. And one thing a customer prefers the most will be multiple services across one platform. Many fintech brands have already rolled out this process of offering multiple services across one app, but the increase in offerings of robust solutions through powerful API integration will add on. In the coming days, consumers who need banking services are likely to turn to this financial player who can offer convenience and ease of transaction that is entirely safe and secure. To address these consumer needs, banks cannot do much, but technology can help a lot of digitalizing consumer demand. And you have a big player, to summarize what I've just said, it's WeChat. WeChat is a Chinese platform. When you go to Shanghai or Beijing and you don't have a WeChat, you are lost, because WeChat provide you a communication with messaging services. Mm-hmm. You can with WeChat in the same platform. You can save money. You can consume also automatically in secure world. You can make a credit, consumer credit. It's just wonderful. They clearly copy paste the customer experience of Amazon. In 2 clicks, you can buy the world. It's just amazing without any friction. And I think the future is a platformization with multiple services, clearly.
Wonderful. Yeah, last week I just spoke with Ken Heron about conversational AI. And in banking, and actually, yes, across the globe, it's an interesting, we see interesting trends of adoption of conversational AI, chatbots, virtual assistants, and of course, banking and FinTech is a big industry to implement those technologies. So why don't we bring it up to like to broader spectrum? AI, machine learning, robotics. I hear they're thriving right now in FinTech. And if you agree or disagree, because I read that detection of payment fraud, facilitation of credit requests, many other use cases, and of course, improvement of customer service. How do you think AI, machine learning, robotics helping in these 3 areas, or maybe some others?
Yeah, thank you for this a new question and challenging question. It's very interesting. And when you talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on, what is the common point? It's a big data. Behind all this technology, it's a data. And I will add one more element is a blockchain. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the blockchain and big data are 2 technologies in full swing, but they are also 2 complementary technology. According to some experts, before the COVID, we meet on different worldwide finance and fintech meeting to share some insights. And the idea is brands adopting burgeoning blockchain technology will benefit the most. To be honest, as today, we don't see any mainstream using of blockchain. But do not worry, it will come around 2025, clearly. For the moment, we see a lot of tests from the banks, each other in B2B, to make some service in trade finance, in terms of IPO, in terms of issuing debt, and so on. And it works well. In particular, HSBC makes some successful tests. It was the same with Société Générale. So that's okay. We need some more time, more investment in order to have a clear using in B2B first, and after we will see in B2C. Financial services will be able to reduce fraudulent activities, phishing attacks, and ensure secure payments. One of the other things that FinTech needs to bring their attention is artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data analytics. Mm-hmm. As all of this can help financial services in addressing the key challenges like a cost reduction and scrutinize risky transactions. This will help financial services to get a better hold on their offering, reduce fraud, automate trading process, ensures secure payment processing, and so on. The other thing, FinTech brands need to bring their attention more closely to is data analytics, AI, and machine learning. AI is already helping many address key pressure point, reduce costs, and monitor risk on transaction. And according to Autonomous, a financial research firm, AI is projected to reduce operating costs by about 20% around 2030. This is very important, and clearly today this is a projection. Tomorrow it will be a clear reality and big impact on the finance business, clearly.
Absolutely, because what I understand that AI will help to segment the customers, right? On the bank side, on financial institution side, right? That's the biggest use case out there. And there are some other, of course, around risk management, right? And about supporting decision making, because we talked about analytics, we talked about predictive analytics, right? Now with AI capability combined, are there any new hot use cases that you discovered this year that actually going to carry us forward?
Clearly, and you know, we have to see AI, machine learning as a support to have augmented specialists. For example, relationship manager augmented, analyst augmented, in order for the specialist to be more intelligent thanks to the machine learning technology and the data. And all the robotics, as you say, can make instead of the human being in order to help this professional to support the final client. This is the idea. This is the reason why I strongly believe you don't have to be afraid of this change, of this innovation. It's a tool, it's a support.
So let's dig a little bit deeper, because we talk a lot about how we're going to augment humans, how the machine capabilities will make your best specialists only better, right? How it will help institutions to actually democratize knowledge, and every person, every worker can be your best knowledge worker. Don't you agree? Thing is, where are the hurdles? Where are the kind of barriers for adoption? Because it sounds so easy and promising, and yet many institutions kind of putting these projects on hold. What's your experience with that?
The first step, it's IT infrastructure. As you know, in the bank, it's a big problem to innovate because the legacy IT banking infrastructure, it's terrible. This is the reason why the CTO of big banks does not sleep very well, because every time they have to change, it's 100 million of dollar of change module and so on. It's to the most important is to build a new platform, open platform to integrate whole the new development blockchain and SaaS module in order to innovate more quickly. The second, this is what I mentioned a few minutes ago. This is the education of employees and collaborators to innovation. The problems, employees are afraid of the situation of change, because, as you know, banks has a big pressure to reduce cost. They reduce some position, and for me, for finance sector, the innovation and tech is an opportunity, as exactly as the policy of JP Morgan. JP Morgan is simply the huge bank, I will say, of the world. This is not the case because you have a Chinese competitor, but is one of the best bank in developed countries, in particular in Europe and United States, because the focus of the change. Even Jimmy Dimon criticized Bitcoin. The management of JP Morgan say, "Hey, Jimmy, don't say that because we work on it." Well, yes, but people, anybody told me that. it was funny, you know. And the most important is sharpen the skills of employees and collaborators in order to innovate and democratize the knowledge of tech and innovation. And I'm mentor of different FinTech hub in Europe, and I see during hackathon weekend the mix of people, senior, junior, people from compliance, people from tech, in one weekend, the capacity to create a new product, to tackle a problem, to resolve a customer issue is just amazing when you give the time and the opportunity to work together. And it clearly gives the opportunity to sharpen the skills of people, a very good IT infrastructure, and it's not easy, but AI and data has a lot of bias, you know, because the coding as today is code by humans being a lot of bias. It's a copy paste. The machine cannot correct that. And you have a lot of default on that. You don't have enough also women in finance, in the tech. From my opinions, it's also a bias. This is some key in order to balance all these problems. And I'm pretty sure if we tackle all the elements I mentioned, we can regulate, we can succeed to innovate without any freaking of the situation, because we are in transition, technological transition, also in ecological, but at the moment it's a technological transition for finance sector. It's not a problem of tech, it's a problem of mindset of people. Mm-hmm. And for that, they need education, test and learn, and say, this is possible. I believe it was not possible, and so on. This is a reason why we have to create an ecosystem, a very good ecosystem with a very good IT core banking system to integrate a lot of new facilities, elements, and SaaS platform to educate people and try to tackle a bias, in particular in tech, and the behavior interaction of human being, in particular on between men and women.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you touched on innovation, and we understand large institutions, it's harder to implement innovative projects. They have legacy, they have lots of legacy applications, lots of issues that are probably decades old. So I'm myself a practitioner. I started in the technical side, and I've seen these complex implementations that could take years. And of course, by the time you go to market with new innovative offering, it's probably too late. So it's definitely lots of issues there. Question is, what about startup innovation? What do you see happening in fintech startups? Because I'm seeing in some of the articles that investment has fallen this year. Where do you see, the younger, hungrier companies can still grow? What's the opportunity?
Yeah, and it's true. For startup is interesting and challenging period. During the lockdown, we see the fintech usage jumped over 50%. Clearly, it was a very good period and for test and learn about the services for a lot of startup. Of course, as you mentioned, it's complex, not difficult, but complex situation in terms of funding for fintech startups as today, because most of the funds, in particular VC funds, preferred invest again in the first startup they put money instead to make money in the new investment. To avoid any new risk, because they don't know what will happen with the COVID and lockdown and so on. I'm sure in 2021, at the end of first semester, the trend of growth will go on, in particular of funding. The focus of the fund now, it's on the leader, as you see on different latest fund running, in particular in Europe, on a neobank, you see a big round from Revolut, from Go Cardless, and so on. But for the moment, it's kind of pause, in particular for the new entry, for the new player. It's a little bit challenging, but the investment on the solid startup will go on for sure, because it's clearly a transformation, a digital transformation, transformation of consumer, and the investor want to take part of that. And of course, during the lockdown, we see the interest of this kind of investment of using for people and for companies, for sure. For the moment, I would say it's a kind of pause, clearly, of investment. But for sure, you will see a lot of investment coming, in particular, as I mentioned, on the blockchain around 2025. For sure, you will see a lot of investment come back on this on a blockchain project.
Exactly, because also on blockchain, many analysts agree that hype is fading, at least for now. Because I remember 5 years ago, everybody was talking about blockchain, right? And then again, some disillusionments happened since then. So right now, I guess organizations more careful, but like you said, the promise is there. So you're saying 2025, right? Where we should see some rise there.
Exactly, and again, it's very difficult to explain the interest of the blockchain to mainstream people for the moment. This is a reason why we have to succeed the application of this technology on B2B business, clearly, before to see using and using of people and see some B2C project. Because to be honest, anybody has the right knowledge. We don't have the right platform to be connected each other. It's very difficult. It's like speak a language and other people doesn't speak. See, you cannot communicate. This is the same, clearly. This is the same. But when you see the comeback of Bitcoin, this is a clear example. You have behind a blockchain technology, and you see a comeback of different interest and investment. I see on different mission and assignment to accelerate on that and to have a concrete project to take off, clearly. It's a question of time.
Fantastic, fantastic. That gives us some, yes, field for imagination, right? Where we will be in 2020. So, Xavier, thank you so very much. Time is flying in this discussion. So I would like to leave our audience with few takeaways. How would you summarize, right, what we will see in 2021, clearly coming from what we experienced in 2020 so far?
What I feel, I'm not God, but I feel it will be a comeback for everybody to the business thanks to the vaccine. It's a comeback to the business, to the acceleration of digital transformation, because now we have a valid proof of concept with thanks to the COVID. And now every player of the economy sees the interest in particular with a fintech solution, because everybody needs money, shops, industry, enterprise, consumer, citizens, and clearly the power will be smartphone. You have the power of the money with your smartphone everywhere, every year. It will be my conclusion.
Beautiful. Thank you. So as long as our friends, our smartphones with us, more or less, throughout the next few years, will be okay with contactless payments, right? With new innovations coming in every app, right? AI being employed, to every need and possible want we have, right? With all the fantastic algorithms that basically driving what we want, how we want to live our lives, how we entertain, how we can make money, how we spend our money. So that's absolutely new digital world that we are already part of. So I totally agree with you that acceleration is only continue, with hopefully some new exciting inventions and innovations out there, don't you think?
Exactly, Irene. Thank you very much for the invitation, and maybe we will get another opportunity to share some insight together on different subjects.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Javier, so very much. Thank you.